Welcome to Mastering Life's Adventures, an educational podcast about tapping into your true self, the soul, the substance of your life, to discover what life's ups and downs are really about, and how to have a greater sense of purpose, peace, joy, and fulfillment. I am Dr. Judith Holder, your host, coach, psychologist, fellow seeker who enjoys diving into the connections between spirituality, psychology, wellness, and your everyday life's adventures. All preparing and polishing you like the facets of a magnificent diamond to be your best self. If you're craving more from your life, you are in the right place. Come, let's journey together and transforming what you know into who you really are. Mastering Life's Adventures begins now.
What if I told you that every uncomfortable life change, every detour, every loss, and I know we've all had losses in our lives, even every type of shift that has happened to us, every shift you didn't expect wasn't a setback. The loss had meaning. The detour in your life had meaning to it. And I would like to invite you to think about the sacred push that maybe is given to all of us, unknowingly. We tend to fight change, but the truth is, change is how the soul evolves. If we're walking a spiritual path, we have to know that forward movement means change. If you're going to stay in the same spot, you won't change. But life is for growing. Right? We tend to fight change. The truth is, change is how the soul grows, how the soul evolves. Not when things stay the same, but when the rug gets pulled and something deeper has to change to emerge. In this episode, we're talking about why change, yes, even the hard kind, is crucial to your soul's growth and how to move with it. Hi, I'm back, the next key in soul growth. This time, we're diving into one of the most uncomfortable but transformative topics of all, change. I've been thinking about this because of the changes that have happened in my life. And I want you to think about it in terms of the changes that are happening in your life. Small ones, medium-sized ones, great ones that have occurred. How do you put a greater understanding of those changes from a spiritual perspective, from a soul growth perspective? The truth is, your soul needs change to grow. Not just the beautiful kind, like new opportunities, falling in love, or stepping into your purpose and direction that you want your life to go in, but also the kind that breaks things apart, the change that shows up as loss of a loved one, of a mother, a father, of a son, of a husband, of an uncle, of an aunt. The change that shows up as loss, endings, sudden moves, and painful choices. Today, we're unpacking why change is not punishment, but invitation. How to move through it with less fear and embrace it to gain more clarity. And if you want to listen to the episode on fear, it was in the beginning part of this month. You can go back and listen to that. And how to tell when your soul is trying to nudge you forward, even when your mind is clinging to the past. Because that's that ego persona that wants things the same. And so we want to be able to expand. We want to be able to grow and advance in our soul awareness and in our understanding that we're here on purpose. So let's begin. The soul does not grow in sameness. It grows through movement, through some type of flexing the muscle, so to speak, like in a gym. That's how you build the muscle. Wouldn't you think our soul would want to flex its muscle and continue to grow? and know what weights work and what weights don't work in the gym. And I will say the gym of life that can expand us and help us know in the gym of life that we can break old patterns, that things don't have to be the same. If you look back at the moments that truly shaped you, were they when things were safe and predictable, or when life interrupted your plans? It's kind of like a disruptor. I can think of times when I thought everything was falling apart, a relationship ending, or a career shift I didn't choose, or a relocation that I or you or whoever's listening to this episode didn't really want. But now I can see things, and we'll hope you will, by the end of our time together, see things. That disruption wasn't punishment, it was alignment. The soul is not here to keep us comfortable. It is here to keep us becoming more aware, more aligned, more awake to our inner purpose, to unite with the Christic energies, to understand that Jesus came and had a path, and how do we emulate that path? How do we be more Christ-like in our thoughts and our feelings, our action, our behaviors, during the good times and not so good times? The acronym I came up with was PATH, as talking about soulful change that we can be able to understand through these kind of little keys that I will say, that I would like to give to you, that can help you walk you through change and building this awareness that it is here to help, not hinder, harm, or hurt you. So the P of PATH is pause before reacting, because we are so used to the status quo of doing things in a certain way that when that way changes in any way, we react. Yes, we react. And maybe what we need to do instead is pause, breathe, and just observe. But you'll give yourself time. It gives you the opportunity to feel the emotions, but don't make snap decisions out of fear. The A is to ask what your soul is trying to show you. What is my soul trying to show me in this situation? Help me to see this. Asking your soul, you're asking your God self, you're asking your higher source to give you a greater understanding. So remember that analogy I use as I talk about more with guests, that we can be like the trampoline, that we need to bounce and see higher in the situation. Sometimes we need to float through a situation, and sometimes we need to be on a skateboard, just staying on that skateboard and moving through the situation we find ourselves in. So the A is when you're going through a particular situation, be aware that every change carries a message. Whether you need to float and observe what that is, use a springboard to see above and beyond what's going on, or be on the skateboard, just to stay on the skateboard and keep on moving in life, not allowing yourself to be able to fall off that skateboard. And that may mean that you get depressed or sad or anxious or mad or feeling that life is unjust to you. So remember, ask, what's trying to evolve in me? What am I being called to release? The T is trust the process. Even when it doesn't make sense yet, and the key word is yet, because sometimes things take time to evolve into us, be into a different space and a greater sense of awareness of what's going on. Trust that something higher is at work. And this is faith-based. When we believe in that spiritual aspect of who you are, I tend to be Christian, so I will talk in the way of Christ and Jesus, understand Buddhist traditions, and I will give some flavor to that. But either be a Christian or Buddhist, they all say, be non-attached. Be willing to trust that something greater is taking place, even when you cannot see it. having that faith. Walk by faith, not by sight. Now, the age is honor the transition. Don't rush to get over it, which some people will do. I just need to get past this pain. I just need to keep active. I need to. But be aware, growth happens in the in-between moments. Growth happens. Slow it down. Be willing to just be in the moment. Whatever that pain, challenge, or change, just be with it. With your soul and mind and the Christ energy of Christ, your higher self, your creator, the mind is with you to help nurture you, support you. So don't rush the process. Be aware of what's taking place and see how you can embrace the change that has taken place. As painful sometimes as that is, and it takes time. I get that. The question comes up, and it probably ties into why we resist change. The question is, how do you let go? Especially you've been used to something. You've been used to a person in your life, a particular way of doing something, or going to work at a certain time. Now all that has changed. So why do you cling so tightly to the past? Because we're used to it. The mind is wired for what's familiar, even when the familiar is painful. We stay in jobs, in relationships, patterns, even belief systems, because they give us an illusion of control. But the soul doesn't operate from safety. It operates from truth. Truth. And my mom would always say, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." From what? The ignorance of the law, the universal laws. The more you understand those universal laws, which I've talked about in my previous episodes, the more you can be in attunement with the changes or the situations you find yourself in. Let's say someone they're in a job that they hate, but they stay because it pays the bills, it gives you food on the table. Yes, that's real. But if holding on to it is costing you more than it can fix because you're unhappy, that's a cost. Being unhappy, being negative because of the job, even though it's giving us money, we're still negative. That is a big cost to your soul. And your soul feels it. It's like this density that I've talked about in past podcasts, this density that's weighing us down, that weighs the soul down, that doesn't allow the soul to have a greater sense of freedom and the ability to grow. We have to be aware that things happen in cycles, things happen in seasons. And we have to be willing to move with the season we find ourselves in. Right now, in parts of the United States, there are 4 seasons. That might not be the case where you are, but each season brings certain gifts. And we have to be willing to flow with the seasons that we find ourselves in. Maybe related to a relationship, for example, that you have. We're talking about change right now, in which the relationship ends up not going anywhere. And it ends up being a relationship that you really loved and you really wanted this particular person in your life, but it didn't end up that way. So what we tend to do, because we're stuck and not wanting to change from what we've had into what may be a new beginning, we end up reliving old memories, hoping things will return to what they were before. Or we keep on ruminating on the particular person that is no longer in our life. And that's not necessarily helpful to us. Yes, in certain ways in the beginning, it helps to sort through our emotions about how we're feeling about a situation, person, or event. But after a while, it weighs us down. And we have to realize Change comes when we stop romanticizing the past and start listening to what the present is teaching. We only have the now, and how are we making the best of this nowness that we have? And here's kind of an example I like to give that I've seen in my work with other individuals. You may have known someone who went through a massive breakup, and it shattered that person, their stability, their thoughts about love and trust. Would they be ever able to love again? And at first, the person that you have in mind, for example, did everything to try to return to the way things were. If they've talked with you about it and they want to find ways about it in order to get back to the way it used to be with that particular person, male or female, they're thinking about how they need to make that happen. Notice I said make it happen. But slowly something shifts. And they realize, and they're talking with you, that what if this isn't rejection, but redirection? What if this person who you adored and loved, who is now no longer in your life, maybe life had a greater meaning and a greater purpose for something you learned, but not for something for you to stay in the relationship? The breakup opened the door to a new city, a new passion, or ultimately a new self, a new awareness of who you are through the experience of that relationship that you were able to garner and grow from. What felt then like a devastation to your friend became rebirth. And that's what changed us. It clears out what your soul has outgrown, so something more authentic can take its place. This is the evolution of the soul. Where we were last year or a few months ago, it's not where we are now, because the soul on its path wants you to continue to grow through life experiences and master those experiences as best you can. Now, you may be thinking, are there any tips for staying grounded during times of change? I think there are some tips that I can give to you that could be of help. And you may have tips too, so let me know if you think of any other things. Here are a few grounding practices that you can be doing. Place your feet on the ground, place your feet on the earth, breathe deeply, and anchor into now what was or what might be. It's like a daily grounding that you're doing. You're grounding yourself. Okay, I'm fully present in the now. And I feel my feet on the carpet or on the earth, asking yourself, what now? What do you have for me now? We can also journal through having soul questions or soul promptings that we're listening grace and trying to write from a higher self. What would my higher self say here? And maybe say, what am I learning? That you're asking yourself. Your soul is also in attunement with that higher aspect of who you are. What am I releasing? Being silent and listening, or just write whatever comes to your mind. What am I ready to receive through this experience that has happened to me? Maybe I wasn't ready in the past to understand how a personality that I keep on attracting affects me. I'm not seeing it through clear glasses, that my soul wishes me to see something. Another thing we can do is simplify your surroundings. When life feels chaotic, clear your space a little bit or a lot. Look at your commitments or your spreadsheet then, and it can be simplified. So some of those commitments, and also your mind. Are you thinking, ruminating, trying to compile different things you need to get done, making those lists to the point that the mind is not calm. It's always busy. But our mind needs to have some still space, some calmness, so that your soul's intuition can help guide you more. And then there are affirmations, which I think are great, that can help to align us as another tip. What am I aware of the statements that I say to myself? What do I notice how I speak to myself? Am I saying things that are affirming and uplifting, or things that are degrading to my soul and inner peace? Some affirmations that are more uplifting: I am safe to grow. I am safe to learn. I release what no longer serves me. I trust the change unfolding in my life. But it does require being patient, being gentle with yourself as you're moving through change. Because sometimes change is an invitation to rebirth. Think of nature. The leaves fall before spring blooms. The caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The seed must break open to become a tree. You are no different. Your soul came here to evolve, to remember what's eternal by letting go of what's temporary. Every change is a doorway. The question is, will you walk through it with fear or with trust in the Lord, the Almighty I Am Presence, the Atman, the Creator? Here's what I want to leave you with today. Change is not something to survive, it's something to partner with, to embrace. It's like a best friend sitting with you, guiding, talking, helping, supporting. Your soul has never been afraid of endings. It is the ego persona, the ego that is afraid of endings because it likes to have things exactly the same. These endings that happen to us, they're new beginnings. Each day is a new beginning if you really think about it. When we wake up in the morning, it's a new beginning, a new day of opportunity. And we have an opportunity to make a choice about how we want to spend that day. Let go of what you thought life should be, because we get locked in to what we want it to be as opposed to what it is, and open to what your soul knows it's becoming, and being sensitive to listen and ask those questions, as I mentioned before, of affirmations or statements that you say to yourself, that each day, in every way, I'm growing, I'm advancing, I am moving forward. So let go of what you thought life should be and open to what your soul knows it's becoming. And then, when the change feels too big, come back to your path. Pause, ask, trust, and honor. Think about that. When you can pause, you have an opportunity to have spirit come in to guide you. When you ask, you're inviting for the universe to help you. When you trust, you're now toggled to something greater than yourself. And when you honor, that is the sacredness of God in your life. This is how we grow. This is how we evolve. And that is something worth thinking about. Because when we can look at change in a positive light, and knowing that it's going to be a little bit painful because we have to break away from old thoughts or old assumptions that we do have, but we're willing to do so. Something to think about. And one last thing, I thought I would do something I did in my last episode is a short meditation on embracing change with soul trust and inner alignment that I thought might be helpful. It's just a short meditation for you to think about what I've talked about in this episode, and for you just to take a few minutes to reflect. So I'd like you to close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath in, and exhale fully. Do it again. Breathe in and out. Allow yourself to settle into stillness. Feel your body supported by the surface beneath it, be it that chair, a couch, or wherever you are. And know you're safe here. Let the busyness of the day soften. Let the future and the past fall away. All that matters now is this moment, being fully present now. Bring your awareness to the center of your chest, your heart space. Imagine a soft, glowing light there. With each breath, let this light grow warmer, brighter, and wider. Is this light growing warmer, brighter, and wider? Is the presence of your soul, timeless, steady, and wise. Let it surround you like a cocoon of comfort and clarity. As you're breathing in and you're breathing out, and my mind wants to wander, gently bring it back to your chest, to your heart, and that warm sensation. Now, gently call to mind a recent or current life change that happened to you. Something that's been shifting, ending, or unraveling. It might feel exciting or uncomfortable or both. Let it rise to the surface. Not to fix it, but to witness it. Allow this change to reveal its purpose. Be curious. Say, I allow this change to reveal its purpose. Feel the breath move through your body as you hold this change in the light of your awareness. No judgment, just presence. Imagine now that your soul steps forward as a light, a presence, or simply a feeling of peace, tranquility, calmness. It places a gentle hand on your shoulder and whispers, you are not being broken. You are being reshaped. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Let go of what you were to become who you are. Breathe those words in. Let them fill the spaces where fear used to live. Again, you are not being broken. You are being reshaped. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Let go of what you were to become who you really are. And in fact, as you settle into that awareness with your soul, you are not walking through change alone. You are being led from within. Just be with that for a few seconds. Let's anchor this experience with truth. Repeat silently or aloud. I trust the path unfolding for me. I release the past with gratitude. In the name of my higher self, the wise aspect of who I am guided by the wisdom within me. I allow change to become transformational. Let each word settle into your body, into your breath, into your bones. I am grateful for the greater awareness of what I'm learning from this change. Continue to guide me, continue to direct me, continue to help me. Lord, the mighty I am presence, the Christ self, the Atman, the Buddha, wherever that higher presence is with you that you're tied to, invite that presence to help you. Just be with that for a few more seconds. Begin to come back now, gently, slowly, and with reverence. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring your awareness back to the space around you. Feel the calm, the peace that now lives within you. And as you open your eyes, breathing in and breathing out, carry this knowing. You can meet any change, not with fear, but with peace and power of your soul. Something to think about and be. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining me for this episode on Mastering Life's Adventures, being your best self through soul evolution. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, I would be delighted if you would share this episode with others, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe to my Mastering Life's Adventures podcast. Look forward to your joining the next episode. Please leave any comments or suggestions you might have below. Bye for now.